Have you ever noticed how some people never ask for anything, and yet everyone wants to help them? They don't beg. They don't demand. They don't make anyone feel indebted. But they create something in the air, a kind of silent respect. People around them feel drawn to approach, to offer, to be on their side. Now imagine if you stopped asking and started generating that same force. What would change in the way others see you? Because here's what most people don't understand. When you constantly ask for favors, you're not just requesting help. You're broadcasting something deeper. You're telling the world exactly where you stand in the invisible hierarchy of value. Every time you reach out with your hand extended, you're making a silent confession. I need you more than you need me. I am lacking. I am incomplete. And the world hears it. Not with ears. With instinct. You were taught that asking for help is strength, that vulnerability is courage, that reaching out is connection, and in some contexts, that's true. But nobody told you about the shadow side. Nobody warned you that there's a difference between occasional reciprocity and chronic dependence. There's a difference between collaboration and positioning yourself as perpetually beneath. Think back. How many times have you asked for something and felt that small contraction in your chest? That slight shame? That micro moment where you had to make yourself smaller to receive? You told yourself it was humility, but your body knew something else. It knew you were giving away power. This started early. You learned that being needy earned attention, that expressing lack brought care. As a child, that was survival. You cried, someone came. You needed, someone provided. And a pattern formed in your nervous system. A belief crystallized in your bones. The path to connection runs through my inadequacy. So you carried that forward, into friendships, into relationships, into your professional life. You kept asking. You kept reaching. You kept positioning yourself as the one who needs rather than the one who provides. And slowly, imperceptibly, people began to see you through that lens. Not as cruel judgment, as natural perception. As the way human beings unconsciously sort each other into roles. Carl Jung wrote about the shadow, the parts of ourselves we can't see. But there's also a shadow in how we relate, an invisible exchange happening beneath every interaction. And when you ask for favors repeatedly, you're making deposits into an account you don't realize exists. You're training people to see you as resource poor, as energy negative, as someone who takes more than they give. This isn't about keeping score. It's about something more primal. It's about the energetic signature you carry into rooms. The feeling people get when they see your name on their phone. Do they feel expansion or contraction? Possibility or obligation? Be honest with yourself. When you ask for favors, what are you really asking for? Sometimes it's genuine collaboration, a fair exchange. But other times, if you look deeper, you're asking for something else entirely. You're asking to be saved. You're asking someone to fill a hole that only you can fill. You're outsourcing your power to another person and hoping they'll hand it back to you wrapped in help. And here's what happens. The person might say yes. They might even do it gladly the first time. But something shifts. A weight transfers. You've created an imbalance. And imbalances demand correction. Either they'll pull away to reestablish equilibrium, or you'll have to keep giving pieces of your dignity to maintain the connection. Neither option leads where you want to go. This is about psychic energy, the invisible force that animates your presence. Every human being has a reservoir of this energy. When you're constantly asking, you're opening a valve and letting it drain. You're telling your unconscious mind that you don't have enough, that you need external sources to complete you. And your unconscious mind believes you. It reorganizes your entire personality around that belief. You become the asker, the needy one, the person who shows up with problems rather than solutions. And slowly, exhaustingly, you watch opportunities dry up. Invitations decrease. People become busy when you call. Not because they're cruel, because they're protecting their own energy from someone who's unconsciously trying to siphon it. You feel it, don't you? That tiredness that comes from always being in the position of lack. That vulnerability that makes you easy to dismiss. That subtle shame that accumulates like sediment at the bottom of your self-respect. You thought asking for help would bring you closer to people, Instead, it often pushes them away. Because you're not offering relationship, you're offering a role. The role of your support system, your solution provider, your emotional crutch. And people can feel when they're being cast in a role rather than met as equals. Here's the manipulation you haven't seen yet. The world benefits when you keep asking. Bosses love employees who constantly ask for approval because it keeps them subordinate. Friends who need to feel superior love. Friends who position themselves as inferior. Systems thrive on people who don't believe in their own resourcefulness. When you ask, you're not just seeking help. You're confirming a power structure. You're agreeing to stay small so others can feel big. You're playing a game where you've already accepted the losing position. And the cruelest part, you're doing it voluntarily. Nobody forced you. You've internalized the belief that this is how connection works, that this is the price of belonging, that if you stop asking, you'll be alone. But that's the lie. That's the exact inversion of truth that keeps you trapped. The people who never ask aren't alone. They're surrounded by genuine offers of help. They're swimming in opportunities. They're recipients of generosity they didn't even request. Why? Because they've mastered something you're only beginning to see. They've learned that power and connection don't come from expressing need. They come from embodying sufficiency, from carrying yourself as someone who has solved their own problems, who has metabolized their own pain, who has built something internally that doesn't require constant external validation. This is the antidote, not isolation, not arrogant self-sufficiency, but genuine sovereignty. The kind that comes from doing the hard internal work of becoming your own primary resource. This is what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming whole unto yourself, not because you don't need others, but because you've stopped needing others to complete you. There's a massive difference. When you stop asking for favors, something alchemical happens. The energy that was flowing outward in requests begins to circulate inward. You start solving your own problems. You start discovering capacities you didn't know you had. You start building the muscle of self-reliance. And people notice, not because you're performing independence, because you've actually become it. Your presence changes. You walk into rooms differently. You speak with a different weight. You've stopped bleeding energy through constant requests, and now you're full. That fullness is magnetic. It draws people toward you not because you need them, but because they sense something in you they want to be near. Strength, clarity, the rare quality of someone who has their center of gravity inside themselves. This is where the guilt comes in. Because when you stop asking, people who benefited from your asking will feel it. They'll accuse you of being distant, cold, selfish. They'll tell you that you've changed, and not for the better. And they're right. You have changed. You've stopped playing the role they needed you to play. You've stopped being the person who makes them feel capable by being incapable. You've stopped being available for the dynamic that kept both of you stuck. This is the price. You will lose people. You will be misunderstood. You will go through a period where it feels like you're doing everything wrong because everyone's telling you that you are. This is normal. This is part of the death that precedes rebirth. You have to be willing to be seen as difficult, as too much, as not enough, as someone who doesn't play by the unspoken rules anymore, because those rules were designed to keep you small. And you're not small. You've just been pretending to be. So what does this actually look like? It means when you have a problem, you sit with it first. You don't immediately reach for your phone. You don't post about it. You don't turn to your network. You turn inward. You ask yourself what you already know, what you're capable of, what resources you actually have before assuming you have none. It means you become someone who solves more than you complain, who builds more than you consume, who offers more than you extract, not from obligation, from the natural overflow of someone who has done their internal work. It means you stop making your lack everyone else's emergency. You stop outsourcing your emotional regulation. You stop expecting other people to fill voids that only you can fill. And yes, there are times when you genuinely need help, when collaboration is appropriate, when asking is the mature thing to do. But you'll know the difference, because it won't come from that desperate place, that contracted energy, That unconscious belief that you can't do it alone. It'll come from clarity, from discernment, from a place of genuine partnership rather than hidden dependence. The people who never ask for favors have learned something essential. They've learned that respect isn't earned by being helpful to others. It's earned by being capable yourself. That attraction isn't created by need. It's created by sufficiency. That the most powerful position in any dynamic is the one who needs it least. This isn't cold. This isn't transactional. This is the mature understanding that real connection happens between two people who have done their own work, who meet as equals, who don't need each other to survive but choose each other to thrive. When you embody this, something shifts in every relationship you have. Friendships deepen because they're no longer based on you extracting support. Romantic relationships balance because you're not looking for someone to complete you. Professional relationships elevate because you're seen as someone who adds value rather than requires it. You become the person people want to help, not because you asked, because helping you feels like investing in something worthwhile, because your energy is going somewhere, because you've proven you'll do something meaningful with whatever support comes your way. This is the freedom that lives on the other side of never asking. It's not loneliness. It's not isolation. It's the clean, clear space where genuine relationship becomes possible, where people show up because they want to, not because you've made them feel obligated. You'll know you've arrived when help comes without you seeking it, when opportunities appear without you chasing them, when people invest in you because they've recognized something rare, someone who has become their own source, someone who has learned to generate rather than extract, someone who has remembered what they knew before the world taught them to be small. The solitude of the strong is not empty. It's full of people who chose to be there. It's surrounded by relationships built on genuine desire rather than hidden desperation. It's the reward for doing the hardest work there is, becoming whole unto yourself. So the question isn't whether you should never ask for help. The question is whether you're willing to become the kind of person who doesn't need to, whether you're willing to do the internal work that makes you your own primary resource, whether you're willing to pay the price of other people's discomfort as you step into your power. Are you willing to be misunderstood for a season to be truly seen for a lifetime? Are you willing to lose the people who only wanted you weak to find the people who celebrate you strong? Are you willing to stop asking and start becoming? Because on the other side of that willingness is a version of you that you've only glimpsed, a version that walks through the world with quiet authority. That solves problems instead of broadcasting them. That attracts help without begging for it. That has learned the secret everyone's looking for but few are willing to earn. You already know what needs to change. You felt it every time you reached out and felt that small death of dignity. Every time you made yourself smaller to receive. Every time you chose the temporary relief of someone else's solution over the permanent power of your own. The question is no longer what. The question is when. When will you stop giving your power away? When will you become unavailable for dynamics that diminish you? When will you choose the hard path of sovereignty over the easy path of dependence? The world doesn't need another person asking for favors. It needs people who have become so full of their own resourcefulness that they overflow into the lives of others. It needs you to stop being a drain and become a fountain, to stop being a problem and become a presence. That transformation starts the moment you decide to stop asking and start building, the moment you turn inward instead of outward, the moment you choose to become your own answer. Everything you need is already inside you. You've just been trained to look everywhere else. Come home to yourself. The people worth keeping will meet you there.